So guys, we're just a few days away from the launch of MLB The Show 25, and I thought now was a good time to do my year-in review video for MLB The Show 24. I do this video at the end of every year, at the end of each MLB The Show game's life cycle, where I go back, talk about the year of Diamond Dynasty that we just experienced, give my positives and negatives, and just kind of give my overall thoughts and opinions on the year as a whole. Before we get into it, just remember that this is only about Diamond Dynasty and its content. I'm not talking about gameplay or any other area of the game. And this is all just my opinion. So if you disagree with my opinion or you have another perspective, feel free to leave that down in the comments. But for now, let's talk about MLB The Show 24's Diamond Dynasty. What was this year all about? Well, it was about the changes that they had implemented to the sets and seasons content model that was introduced back in MLB The Show 23. They changed up a few things. They made the seasons longer, so they made them about 12 weeks in MLB 24 as compared to MLB 23, where they were about 6 weeks each. But in MLB 24, each season would have its own isolated power creep, which was a massive change from MLB 23. For those of you who don't know, there really wasn't a power creep in MLB 23 because they released 99 overall cards on day one. So after that initial 2 to 3 week span, you built your team to a 99, and then for the rest of the year, you were just rotating 99s in and out of your lineup. And that was one of the biggest frustrations for me personally with MLB 23. I really missed that power creep. So I was excited that it was coming back in some capacity here in MLB 24. But they were going a little bit more restrictive this year as well. When we got to season 2, all of your season 1 cards would not be usable unless you used a wild card on them. That's why I'm saying each season was isolated. It had its own set of cards, and you were pretty much only using those cards in that season, which was different than MLB 23, where you could still use the cards from the previous season in the new one. Now, even though I was excited to have a form of the power creep back, once we kind of got in the flow of the game and we kind of started to see how it was working and how the first reset happened when we got to season 2, I really lost a lot of interest in this year's Diamond Dynasty. This is probably the least amount of time I've spent in a Diamond Dynasty since I started doing content back in like 2015, 2016. Let's go into each season individually and kind of just talk about how it went down. So we started in season 1, and obviously at the start of every MLB The Show game, you're going to have that honeymoon phase. The first 2 to 3 weeks, everybody's having fun. Live series cards are expensive on the market. Packs matter. Your BR runs are intense. We had the power creep back, so these lower overall cards had some value. So it was just a good time. It was fun. But after that initial phase, some of these flaws in the content model started to show, and they started to get kind of ugly, specifically with their approach to packs early on. We found ourselves in a system where, as the power creep kept going up, MLB The Show would release a lot of really good cards, and mainly the higher overall cards, in packs, and those would be the highest overall cards for like a week or two, but they didn't give you any ways to earn that pack for a while. You would either have to spend your stubs to buy the pack on the shop and then hopefully get lucky and pull the rare round or whatever, or you would have to spend a crazy amount of stubs to get that card, which is obviously going to lose its value in a few weeks because the power creep moves so fast that there's going to be another high overall that comes out in packs. It got really frustrating for the first half of season 1 to kind of have this model, and a lot of us were just saying, dude, at least give me a chance to like earn the pack. It was just a very frustrating time because it also felt like it took a long time for them to kind of listen to that feedback. And it started to get really annoying, specifically with the season awards programs, because you'd get a few cards. Yeah, you'd get these Tops Now cards, you'd get this Player of the Month card at the end of the program, but they would also release a pack alongside this program, and you couldn't earn the pack. Like, how do you not give us a chance to earn the pack? Like, that was insane to me. We're talking about one. I'm not talking about earning 5, 10 packs. I'm talking about one pack just to have the chance of pulling the rare round. I don't even care if it's non-sell. Just give me a chance. I think eventually they started adding they started to add this like choice pack, but it also wouldn't have the pack from the current program. It would just have the packs from the previous ones. So they were like trying to meet us halfway, I guess, but even this I don't think was what a lot of people were looking for. The other thing about season 1 is like, dude, look how much of season 1 was just dominated by season awards programs. We would get a new program every now and then, like the Jackie Robinson Day or the Show Classics. These came out pretty much right at the beginning of the season, so it's whatever, it's launch content. But throughout most of season 1, it was pretty much just these season awards programs. But throughout all of season 1, we were also earning progress in the season 1 XP reward path. And you would not get the bosses until like so late in the XP reward path. It was nuts. I think it was like 800, 900K, a million XP, something like that. It was something crazy. And yeah, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense that you want to have the good rewards at the end so they kind of line up with where the rest of the content is at the time you unlock those. But also, it makes those rewards feel less special when you've been grinding the entire season to get those cards. And by the time you get them, there's also a ton of other 99 overall cards that could be better, could be like comparable to them. Unless you were like grinding XP like crazy to try to get the cards as quick as possible, it felt by the time that you actually unlocked them, they kind of lost their appeal a little bit. I'm not saying they weren't good. They were still very good cards, but the amount of work it took to get them throughout the season with the other cards being released, I don't know. It lost its charm for me. And then we have Team Affinity throughout season 1. And quite frankly, I think Team Affinity was pretty good. It gave us a lot of cards. It gave us a lot of rewards and stuff. One thing that was frustrating, though, is the chapter 3 of Team Affinity, where it actually gave the 99s, took the longest to finish. I don't know if you guys remember how much they changed the missions to make it like way more frustrating to finish, which kind of sucked because this came out like 4 weeks before season 2 dropped. So you would only have a very limited amount of time to use these cards, but they took the longest to unlock compared to the first 2 Team Affinity drops of the season. They may have added other missions like later on or something that was like a repeatable thing. I don't really remember. I just remember that chapter 3 of Team Affinity season 1 was frustrating because it just took way longer than it needed to for such a limited amount of time to even use the cards anyway. But then we get to the end of season 1, we get to season 2, and we have our first reset. And man, I gotta be honest, this to me was rough. It's not like the reset took us by surprise. We knew exactly what was happening. However, when season 2 came out, nothing felt special. Nothing felt new. It was literally reset because we told you it's time to reset. There was nothing that incentivized you to start the grind over. There was no new card series. There was nothing new in the game in terms of game modes or anything like that. It was just a reset after we had spent 3 months building a team and we only got to use our good team for a few weeks. This reset brought this game to a screeching halt for me. And I know at the beginning of the video I was talking about I really wanted the power creep back, and I did. But once we got season 2, I realized that I like the power creep over a year. I don't like the power creep in a 3-month span. You don't really have a lot of time to like gel with some of your cards and work through some slumps, and it was too fast for me. I like the slow burn. I know some people might not like that, but for me, I like the idea that we still are kind of using 95s by the time we get to like late June, early July, and then the all-star content kind of blows everything up. Like, I like that. So anyway, season 2 starts, and this was probably the longest break I actually took from the game. I don't think I played Diamond Dynasty for about a month. However, I think they did kind of start to figure it out halfway through season 2 with the all-star content. I thought the all-star content was handled extremely well this year. The content drops were actually good. They dropped packs, and they actually gave us a chance to earn a lot of these packs. And at the end of this program, we actually got this pack that featured one of the many rare round guys that you could earn in these all-star content drops. They gave us a lot of cool cards in the collections, like Aaron Judge and the Shohei Ohtani and Paul Skeens and Fernando Tatis. Like, they gave us a lot of really good cards here, and they gave you a lot of ways to earn the cards, which was nice. And once we hit that all-star break, things really actually started to pick up for the game. We got these 3 Hall of Fame programs, which I thought were great. They were pretty easy programs to complete, and each one gave you a Hall of Fame card of that player celebrating that player's induction into Cooperstown. All easy to do, 3 really good rewards. We got the Tony Gwynn program for celebrating his 3,000th hit. We got this Moments of Glory program that gave us the Cycle 99 Jordan, where all you had to do was like 20 moments or something. We got a Moonshot program that had some fun cards in it, like the 99 Jim Thome. We had Eugenio Suarez, the Brent Rooker. And at the end of Season 2, in the last Team Affinity drop, we got a brand new card series. We got the action figure cards. These were awesome. There weren't any like new legends or anything in here. This was at least fun to grind for, in my opinion. So yeah, halfway through Season 2, I think they really started to kind of figure it out. And I think that even continued into Season 3. Because in Season 3, not only did they change the reset to now start with like 95 overall cards instead of going back down to like 88. They gave you that little jump start, and we got a brand new card series, the out of position players. This is one of the most fun card series they've released in the past few years, because a common complaint from a lot of people is that the MLB The Show legend pool isn't deep enough, and we end up just getting repeat versions of players all the time. This is a way for them to use the players that they have in the game and flip it on its head to make it be like new versions of all of these guys. Like we got Byron Buxton as a pitcher. We got Mike Trout as a pitcher and a shortstop. We got, you know, Randy Johnson as an outfielder. Like, this was so much fun. It was quirky. It was off the wall. And it started the season. It gave the season a good entry point. It was fun to jump on the game right when Season 3 came out. So this was really good. And once again, through Season 3, they dropped some fun programs like the Roberto Clemente program. They dropped the 50-50 Shohei, the career tribute program. And then we get into all the postseason content. We got the Extreme program, which was fun. We got the 99 Acuna, the Jacob deGrom, Goldschmidt, Ottavino, Polanco. The moments to me were not as miserable this year as they were back in MLB 23. I think they just really found a good rhythm and a good flow with content once that All-Star break hit. But the first few months was just not the same story for me. And that leads us to where we are now. Once Season 3 ended, Season 4 started, we got the finest stuff, and all cards throughout the inventory were now eligible. There were no sets and seasons restrictions, and we had also found out that sets and seasons would not be returning to MLB 25, so we would now, assumingly, never have to worry about restrictions like that ever again. And that's kind of what MLB The Show 24 was. It was them trying out sets and seasons again. My opinion was that it did not work again. But once we hit that All-Star break, I think they course corrected about as well as they could. They released good content, relevant content, fun content, but for a lot of people, it just wasn't enough to get them back on the game, because quite frankly, once you played through Season 1, you kind of got the flow of the game. Why would you have any desire to reset your team when you had already gone through the grind of building your team up to that 99 level? And going from 99s to 88 is such a drastic change that it's kind of hard for people to get on board with that again. So overall for me, man, MLB 24, the best way I can describe it is more of a good riddance than a goodbye. I like the way they kind of course corrected midway through the year, but overall, the sets and seasons content model, I'm happy to see it go, to put it nicely. I've had some people ask me, do I like MLB 23 or MLB 24 better? I don't really know. They're about the same. They're both kind of near the bottom of the MLB The Show pantheon for me. There were things that I think MLB 23 did better than MLB 24, but there were things that I think MLB 24 did better than 23. But realistically, I still have no desire to really go back and play this game or that game. Like, I'm ready for a fresh start on Diamond Dynasty and MLB 25. So those are my thoughts and opinions on this year's game. Let me know in the comments if you guys liked the game or disliked the game. Hopefully MLB 25 is a great year, man. We need a great year for the game. We're due for one. I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm ready to get back on the grind. I hope you guys are ready for a ton of videos coming your way. I appreciate you guys watching. Let's get excited for the new game, man.